Hey guys, so today was Valentine's Day in Japan, which is always an interesting experience. So many years ago, some genius at the Meiji chocolate factory in Japan came up with a brilliant idea to market Valentine's Day, which wasn't in Japan at the time, and they cleverly marketed it or they pushed the image that Valentine's Day is about ladies giving all the men that they know chocolate, right? So made no connection with romance at all, just that the ladies should give chocolate to all the men that they know, right? And then, in an absolute move of genius, they also decided that they'd promote March 14th as White Day and promote the idea that all the guys that were given chocolate by the ladies would have to give white chocolate to them, right? Which is absolutely brilliant idea for a chocolate company, right? Because, you know, in most countries, you know, usually one person buys, maybe buys chocolate for one other person, right? Unless they're very naughty and they got a couple of girlfriends or a couple of boyfriends or something. But usually you only buy something for one person, don't you? But they've marketed this thing, and as a result, they give it to everybody. So the girls in our family will give it to me, they'll give it to their uncles and their grandfather and the boy that they know next door and their friends that are boys, and then it expanded from that. And over the years, we've seen it expand so that the girls actually give it to their female friends as well. And so what happens is, so I'll tell you what happened in our house yesterday, and this is what's happening across all over the place, is that the girls will go out and buy usually Meiji chocolate, but whatever chocolate that they want to buy, and then they take it home and they get molds and they get all sorts of sprinkles and all sorts of things, and they basically take meltdown chocolate and then make something out of it, right? So they usually use chocolate and all sorts of sprinkles and things like that, and marshmallow seems to be a popular ingredient, and cookies and that sort of thing. And it was funny today because our girls were out walking around the neighborhood delivering chocolates to all their friends, and while we were out, we saw girls all over the place, usually just the girls, not always, but usually just the girls, but young ladies all over the place, you know, girls from like 7 years old to 18 years old, walking around the streets with these bags, visiting all their friends, delivering all this chocolate to all their friends. So, and then of course they give it to their grandfathers and their fathers and their uncles and anybody else that they're thinking of. So it's absolutely brilliant because, you know, in our house there would have been, I don't know, 10, 15 blocks of chocolate that were bought. So they buy these blocks of chocolate and they melt them down and they do all these things with them. And then we visited one of our friends this afternoon, and the girls in that house had done the same thing. And they just had packets. They do it really nicely. Typical Japanese packaging, you know. It's sort of handmade, but it's not really, is it? They're using the chocolate as an ingredient and melting it and just changing it and putting it into molds and things, and then they put it into usually clear plastic bags with a ribbon around it or something like that, so you can see what's in there. And so they do it really well. It's sort of a little bit competitive because, you know, everybody's sort of competing, not really competing, but everyone's aware of the fact that some people are really good at this, so everybody's trying to do a really good job of it and make it look as good as possible. So it's amazing. You can imagine how good this is for business for the chocolate companies, because, you know, if our house bought 15 blocks of chocolates, and the house we visited, they actually have 3 girls in their house, and they'd all done the same thing, and so there's saucepans all over the place with melted chocolate in it, and packets and packets and packets of all these chocolates and marshmallows and cookies and all sorts of stuff all over the place. So absolutely brilliant. So whoever came up with that in the Meiji chocolate factory must be a legend in those parts, and it's caught on, and nobody, it seems that almost, I haven't actually talked to anybody who was aware that was what had happened, you know, and they're really surprised when you do tell somebody, you know, when someone says, you know, what's Valentine's Day like in Australia, and I say, well, outside Japan, usually Valentine's Day is connected with romance, and usually you only give something to somebody who you're romantically connected with, just one person, and they're really surprised. They can't believe it. And then I often go on to tell them that there's no such thing as White Day outside Japan. That's purely Meiji Chocolate Company idea, and that outside Japan nobody does White Day. That's a Meiji Chocolate Company idea, and they can't believe that either. So it's really funny. It really is funny. And of course that means that on Valentine's Day the guys don't have to give anybody anything. The guys just receive it all. The first Valentine's Day I had in Japan years ago, I couldn't believe it. And suddenly all these girls that I knew were all giving me chocolate, and I was feeling all sort of blushy, you know, because like, oh, you know, I had no idea. And then slowly I caught on. They call it Giri-choco. So Giri means like obligation, right? Obligation choco. And that's true. They are obliged. They feel obliged to give chocolate to all the dudes, you know. And so the guys just basically Valentine's Day usually don't give anybody anything, and they just get given all this chocolate. And then they should on White Day, 14th of March. And how brilliant is that? The Meiji Chocolate Company gave themselves a month. So that gives the guys a month to get their act together and go buy chocolate to give to the girls. And it gives the Meiji Chocolate Company a month to restock and get organised for White Day, right? And they do lots of promotion. So when you walk into a convenience store or any sort of shop, between now and the 14th of March, there'll be big posters up and big signs up talking about White Day, and there'll be special stands in the convenience stores, displays, sort of reminding guys, I guess, you know, White Day's coming, and here's this big stand full of chocolate for the guys to buy to give to the girls. And usually, I mean, there'll be a lot of guys that just don't even bother, probably. But usually the guys don't do all that preparation stuff. They just buy the boxes as they are and just give them, which is what I'll do. I'm going to make a note of whoever gives them to me, and I'll assume the smart guys that do this make a note of whoever's given them chocolate, and then on the 14th of March, give them stuff back. But of course, I'll just buy it pre-made, probably for one of those shelves in one of the convenience stores. I'll walk in there and there'll be the White Day display, and I'll just pick up, you know, however many I need, and then 14th of March I'll be handing out the chocolate to all them. So it's classic. It's very similar to what Kentucky Fried Chicken did with the image marketing that they did about Christmas, and about, you know, Christmas is Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. And then Japanese culture is a classic for this. Once something catches on as a trend, they just all do it without thinking about it. You know, they don't question it, they just all do it. And everyone's doing it, so everybody does it, so everybody does it. Nobody stops to think about why am I doing this, you know? So very dangerous time for a fat man. Fat man ends up with too much chocolate. It's a very dangerous situation to be in 14th of February every year. So anyway, that's it. Valentine's Day in Japan. Unique, I would think. I would think the whole thing, the White Day and the Valentine's Day and the White Day would be something pretty unique to Japan, I'd imagine. So anyway, that was it. Valentine's Day in Japan. So if you're a dude and you come to Japan and you find all the ladies you know are handing you chocolate, don't get excited. It's not romantic. It's Giri-choco, obligation chocolate. Anyway, that was that. More videos coming soon.